Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach, and we are here for another Biz Tip Tuesday. So, we're going to step right into it. So, remember, each and every time I come online, it is to live and love the life that you are leading with respect to your entrepreneurship, your business, with a particular focus on content marketing. So, today, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun in the sense that, it's been a while. I was really doing a couple of things. I was researching, engaging, and kind of seeing how things were really going to be playing out when it comes to OpenAI, and better known in some faces as ChatGPT. It's got a lot of names. And so I felt like this is now a good time. And for some of you, you might have been kind of looking out of one eye and kind of seeing how things are going and how it might fit in. And is this something I really want to get into when it comes to artificial intelligence? And so, with that being said, I'm going to give you this opportunity to figure out, is it something to geek out about or is it something to freak out about? And which one of side of that coin are you going to be leading yourself into? So tonight, I'm going to step in to our conversation with a couple of open-ended questions. One is, what the heck is OpenAI slash ChatGPT? And it's got some other names we'll cover in a minute. What are some tools that are available? How does it work? Right? Because if you haven't even stepped into the platform to even see what it does and how can it even benefit you, and then of course I'm going to demo some for you, and then I'm actually going to show you how you can be a power user. And there's some opportunities that I want to share with you with respect to that. So that being said, that's what our opportunity is for today. So for those of you who are watching live, please make sure that you post your questions here in the chat. I'll let you actually go live if you want to step into the ring. You are welcome to do so. But that's the whole point of today's Biz Tip Tuesday, is to really get a good solid footing and understanding is how, and most importantly, right? How can it help? How can this help me do the work that is necessary for me to be successful when it comes to content marketing and to help in producing the content? I think you're going to be fairly surprised if you haven't already kind of dip your toe into it. So this might be the calling. This is the sign you've been looking for when it comes to doing just that. Forget my glasses. Okay, there we go. We're going to do that, and I'm going to make sure we got that going. Okay, so first question is, well, what is OpenAI? Um, so I want to make sure that you understand some of the nomenclature, some of the buzzwords that you might hear out in the atmosphere. And the first thing has to do with, well, what is OpenAI? So OpenAI, AI meaning artificial intelligence, right? It's simply a company that focused on developing this technology. And it's best known for what we call natural language. And what that means is that you being able to use your natural language in a very conversational way in order to benefit from the results that is able to offer you. ChatGPT, on the other hand, so ChatGPT is a language models like we like to call it, that is developed by OpenAI. So OpenAI is like the parent, ChatGPT is like a child, okay? And they also have had multiple children or siblings, if you would, which are basically versions. ChatGPT and the content that I'm about to show you in a bit is only relevant to the information that was available back in 2021. Versions are currently coming out. There's an opportunity for you to basically go into a newer version, but that's the paid version. Talk about that in a minute as well. But it is an opportunity for you that it's designed for that, again, natural language to understand and to generate content, relevant content that is text-based. I'm not going to get too much into AI for imagery. I'll speak a little bit to it, but that's not the real focus for today. But there's certainly a conversation to be had. And again, its whole purpose is to answer questions and generate content and can do a little bit more. Oops, sorry about that. So there are several different or sister brands, if you would, that are out there on the market that you may be aware of. ChatGPT is one. You may hear of BERT. You may also hear of vehicles that are Bard, and all of them play a very similar role. Most of them are free. Some of them, there is a version of it that is a paid for version, meaning that you just get some upgraded plus components that you wouldn't necessarily get in the free version. But let me just say this, the free version does a whole heck of a lot. And you can always just start with that. And you always have the opportunity to upgrade to the other versions when you see fit. Bard, this is another brand like ChatGPT, is another vehicle of AI model. Again, using the OpenAI. So it's almost like versions of it or cousins, if you would, keeping everything family oriented, right? The difference is some of them have what we call a specialization. So if you've heard the term Bard, Bard is really for creating poetry, believe it or not. Again, it's designed to be very creative and artistic pieces of writing, particularly in the form of poems. So for those of you who are into poetry or like to do rhymes or rap, Bard may be a tool that you may really want to tap into. Now, that's what is ChatGPT. So I also want you to be aware of, most of you are already using artificial intelligence every day. And so ChatGPT is just a vehicle or a technology, but we've been using AI for a very long time. Any of you who have had or have had anything like Alexa or Siri on your phones, those are all artificial intelligence. When you say, Siri, what time is it? Okay, make sure I didn't trigger. It's going to give you an answer. It's going out and using a tool to go out and find the answer and bring it back to you. That's all the artificial intelligence is when it comes to ChatGPT. It's a very similar way, but in a natural language, and we're very conversational. So that is item number one. So there's other tools out there, like I mentioned. So you have ChatGPT, you have Bard. There's also other vehicles or other companies that are embedding the ChatGPT in there. But there are major companies like OpenAI that are the strongmen, if you would, in this resource. And other people are capitalizing off of it by embedding that technology into their other softwares. You're seeing it almost every time you're opening up something new these days. You're going to see that they have an AI component now to their platforms, to the tools that you have it open to. For instance, even Canva, if you've noticed, now has an AI component built into it to help you with your creations. Oops. To help you with your creations. So you are going to see a lot of this AI technologies embedded in other people's programs and tools. I do want to caution you around just that there are there's ways in which it's going to be very beneficial and people are embedding it and trying to enhance the softwares that they already have. And then there are people who are out there that are creating other apps and other bots. Those are all AI. And so they're just wrapping it up, putting a different bow on it, and selling it. And there's nothing wrong with it. just know that at the core of it and behind the scenes is OpenAI. And that is the vehicle that everybody else has an opportunity to utilize. The same as we have used in the past. For instance, there has always been open software resources that we use for developers and programmers that is always that's out there. So ChatGPT is in a very similar way. OpenAI is that open source, and that other people can take it, tweak it, and make it their own, and put their own bow on it, put their own spin on it, put their own label on it. But at the end of the day, the source, it's the general or the core source is OpenAI. So that's that. Now, how does ChatGPT work? So first of all, ChatGPT is a platform, so you do need to have an account to have access to it. It's a very simple, easy way to get it. You just sign up and you have access to it. There is a free version. Then there is the upgraded version that is what they call the plus version, which gives you a newer version of the content. So that means that rather than you having the 2001 and below version of information, you now have up to year 2022. And so these versions will continue to open and kind of evolve over time. Once you get into the platform, I'm getting ready to demonstrate it for you. But once you get into the platform, the whole purpose is that it's about a conversation. So I want you to always put that conversational hat on. The same conversational hat, by the way, that you wear when you are working on your email content, your social media content, on your blogs. You're always speaking to your intended audience, right? So think of it along in those same lines. It's about having a conversation maybe with your assistant. And that's how I like to pose it. And so it's that type of depth of conversation that's going to give you the best results in what we call prompts. So prompts is the vehicle that we use to get content generated using ChatGPT. Now, how difficult, you may say, is that to do? It's not difficult at all. Again, keeping it conversational, you're able to simply provide a very clear and concise question, if you would. The same way like when you type in and do a search on your search engine, it's just an advanced version of that. And that you're able to be really specific at the task or the information that you need. The more concise, clear, and specific you are with that prompt, the better the return is or the output is, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Good in, good out. Here's the deal though. This is all experimental. So you have to understand and know that when you're using a tool like ChatGPT, it's never going to be always right the first time. It's just like when I work with an assistant. I give them the directions. I think I'm clear. I hope they understood what I said. And you say, okay, you got everything? Yeah, I got everything. Okay, good. Go and do your due. And then they come back and they bring you back the finished product and you're like, that's not exactly what I wanted. You kind of got it, but not exactly what I wanted. That's how ChatGPT is. So you do have to go through what we call iterations. They'll give you some information, and based on that feedback, you're like, oh, okay, I wasn't clear enough. Let me clarify for you. And then it'll come back again and say, give you a different set of responses. Is this what you're looking for? And you're like, perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I want you to think of ChatGPT as a person, as someone who you're going to have this conversation with, and give them information, give them direction, almost like your virtual assistant. This one is really your virtual assistant in the sense that it's an artificial person. And then, so there's some tips with respect to how can this help you with your content creation before I get into the demo. So I think this is important to know as well. When you're thinking about using a tool like Bard and ChatGPT, a couple of tips. Be clear, be concise. Experiment with different prompts until you get your desired result. Use it to generate ideas. It's not always about getting a final version of something. It's for a draft, it's to help you do an outline, it's to help you kind of speed up your thought process, right? That's the juice of the matter. So it's not for an end all be all. Yes, I know you hear these things. Oh, it can write my whole dissertation. Well, I don't know about that because I read my dissertation and it was not a cakewalk, and I don't see AI doing it. Now, can it help in helping me in guiding my thinking and helping me to collect some information? Absolutely. You will need to edit the content that it's going to provide you. It's not all that concise and maybe in your voice, which is another part of reason why it's really for idea generating. Um, you want to incorporate this as a part of your overall content marketing strategy. You want to maintain a sense of a human touch. Just like if you notice, there are some tools that are out there, maybe for voice, as an example. It can sound just like a robot and talk to you just that way. The text can come out in a similar way. Is it going to convey the same tonality of you and your voice and your brand? Probably not. You're still going to need to tweak it. And then, of course, you want to stay up to date. And most importantly, be ethical about what you're doing with it. It's use it for good, not for evil. That being said, a couple of things you should know about ChatGPT when it comes to what you shouldn't be using it for. You want to avoid using it to generate false or misleading information. I need to be able to say that clearly and so that you all understand that I've shared this with you, so you can't say you never heard it. But avoid using it for creating false information or misleading information. It's not going to help you, and darn sure isn't going to help anybody else. Don't use it for anything illegal or unethical when it comes to activities. Use it as a tool to help you be productive, and use it so that you can be a better producing that content that you want, and do a little bit of time saving. That's fine. Do exercise caution when it comes to sensitive topics and confidential information. Remember, everything does come from a source. If you're using this outside of, for educational purposes, you do need to make sure you're getting your sources and citing them. No different than when you wrote that research paper back in the day. Plagiarism and plagiarism tools are still out there. They can still check to see if what you have written is authentic. So you're not going to get around that. So just save the trouble of doing that altogether. And like I said, don't let this be the end all be all. You have a brain, have that open touch, and be critical when it comes to your business. You want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and it's going to come across as the authentic you that you are and for the brand that you are serving. So again, just do the right thing when it comes to it. All right, now let's go into, I'm going to open up, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you the insides of ChatGPT. And like I said, you can simply go to the website. I'm going to put the link in the screen. Let me do that first for you guys. Here is the link. Oops, wrong screen. I'll make a quick banner. I'm just going to put it as a ticker at the bottom, okay? So you can go to chat.openai.com, and there's where you'll be able to sign up. Okay, so I'll let that run at the bottom for a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to open up my screen. before I forget. Oh no, I think I already covered that part. Okay, so let me open up the screen. I'm gonna open up with a new chat and then we'll be good to go. So here's my screen for you guys and present. And voila. Well, they won't burst up. Okay. All right, so when you get into ChatGPT, you're going to see a screen that looks something like this. Make sure everybody can see. There we go. Now, over here is going to be any prior chats that you may have had. So the great thing about it, at least for now, is that it will keep a history of all your prior chats. Remember, chat is just that. You're having a conversation with OpenAI. Now, when you first open up, you're going to see a screen like this. This is going to show the version that you're working on. Right now, ChatGPT, the free version, is at 3.2. If you want to go to the upgraded version, 0.4, it's ChatGPT 4, and then you can upgrade. It's like $20 a month, not a big deal. I'm not using it right now myself, but there's certainly an opportunity where I think I will soon enough. Oops. Now, the great thing about ChatGPT at the very beginning is you will notice that they already give you some ideas about what you can put a prompt in for you. I've already have one prepared, so we're going to use that. But just know that it gives you some ideas about what you can ask a question about. SQL query if you wanted to, a personal web page, even doing some coding, which is really cool, or just giving an idea. Remember, this is all about generating ideas for yourself. And then you have a text box here. So this is where you're going to type in what we call a prompt, that conversation that you're having with the AI. So I want us to use this as an example. The first example I'm going to put together, I pulled this out uh, of some prompt information that I already have. So I want you to, this is kind of where we go. I want us to think about, we're setting up for a webinar. And so I already wrote the webinar. I'm good. I wrote the content, but I need a sales page for my webinar for the people to sign up. So remember, it's a conversation. So the first prompt is the term that we're going to ask it is to give it some specific information. So my first prompt is about, let me just import it right here. And okay, hold on, let me sure if I put to do with write a compelling copy for an upcoming webinar that I want to prepare for. I want to create a sales page for it, right? So I'm going to type that prompt into ChatGPT right here where it says send a message. Let me turn off my grammar writer. There we go. Come on. Another AI, by the way. Grammarly. Grammar. Okay. So my first prompt is I wanted ChatGPT to help me write compelling. Notice the terms, compelling or thoughtful. Like, again, what type of writing do you want ChatGPT to do for you? You have to give it that soul, if you would, about how to write for you. So it can convey that tonality, like I mentioned, that's going to feel as though it's coming from you, the source. So using keywords like that are going to be important. So here's the prompt. I'm going to read it out loud. A sign up page. The webinar is called How to Socially Balance Your Content to Grow Your Audience, and will give attendees the following takeaways. the difference between managing and marketing, what are the key 5 ways of building an audience of buyers on social media, and how to avoid costly, costly bad social media habits, right? So that's part of my prompt. I'm being real specific and I need to give it some background information. They don't know the ChatGPT is starting off a blank slate. Got lots of information to offer, but you've got to give it some guidance. So I'm setting it up with that in mind. And now, because it's a sales page that I'm doing, what also needs to be a part of it, it needs to know the date and the time. So I'm going to include it in that. So the date and the time is going to be in my bio. I want them to know a little bit about me because I want that to be part of my sales page, right? So I'm going to add that here as well. So you can make it as lengthy as you want. But again, the more detailed, the more explicit you are, the better. So here, it includes the date and the time of the webinar. I chose October the 13th, as well as my qualifications. So I just added my little short bio that I have. Go. So let's see what it spits out for us. So we're going to hit this green button. That's our go. And then it's going to generate. Look how quick that was, by the way. Pretty darn cool, right? So just that quickly, I've asked it to give me some sales copy that I could use to put on my sales page for my sign up for registering. So just that simple. Now I have a cool header because that's what you need for that sales page, a date and a time. And then it's giving some language, some copy. Are you struggling to find the right balance between managing your social media and effectively marketing your brand? Look no further. Compelling copy is what you get. Join us for an eye-opening webinar, giving the title and hosted by the one and only Keep It Simple Coach, Dr. Yam, right? And then here again, even gives a little proven true record about who I am and what I can do. Now, is all of that true? I don't know. I need to read it. Looks pretty good to me, though. And what do you gain from the webinar? Well, remember, I provided that bit of information, but it's enhanced it quite a bit. So again, the copy should be, so it could be compelling copy. That's what we want for a sales page. And then here's the section about a little bit about me. Don't miss out, call to action, date and the time, closing. Wow, pretty good, right? Now, let's not stop there. Remember, this is a chat, so it's a conversation. So you can now say, you know what, that's great. How about we add a little bit more? So here we're going to do a second prompt and related to the same. Remember, we're building on this conversation. So what you get to do is just that. How can I build on this? So what else am I going to need for my webinar? I don't know about you, but when I do a webinar, I'm going to need some email. So let's ask it to do just that. So it's still in the same chat. So as long as you're still in the same chat, it understands the prior information. It's bringing that with it, is that prior information, so you can build on it. So now here's my follow-up question. Great. Now, write me full. Remember, you tell the people about the event, along with 5 possible subject lines for each email. Why is that important? Because I want to be able to see which ones jive. Remember, these are ideas, just as to get things started and to draft for me the email. So now I don't have to start from scratch. Again, I don't know about you, but I know it just saved me some time. So we're going to go and do just that. I thought I turned you off. Everybody wants to be on today. So now it's going to go ahead and do just that. So notice how how it starts to generate. Here's email number one, subject lines. Subject lines. Remember, I asked for 5 subject lines. It did just that for me. And then here's the email content using one of those subject lines. And it's like, hey, dear recipient, because we're using email automation. So it knows I need to pop that in. And then again, gives them some conveying information that you want. Date and the time, who am I, what you can get out of it, all the deeds, sweet deeds, right? That's first email. And then another email simply as a reminder. And then get this information in detail and then see how much of it I'm going to tweak and modify so it makes sure it meets the needs that I have, right? But already I've got some draft copy for my sales page, and I've got my 2 primary emails. Now, I'm probably going to do a little bit more emails, but that's just a start. I just wanted to share with you what that could mean. Now, if you've been around me long enough to know, what's going to be the next thing that I need if I'm going to be running such an event? Some social media. So why not ask for 10 social posts that I could use to promote the webinar? So I'm going to take that prompt and I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take my text and populate it right here. Now, and you can use those type of terms, just like you're talking to someone. So now give me 10 posts that I could use for social media to promote this webinar. Same chat, same conversation, me and them. And now I post it out and I generate it. Voila. It starts to generate. There's my 10 social posts about my webinar. Voila. And now that just gives you a simple sense. So, what are some of the things as you start to turn this in your head, now that you kind of see exactly what it could do, right? And I just gave you a very brief presentation, but you can get an idea that this is a way to produce the content, or at least give you a head start and to help you to get ideas and to start your thinking so you don't have to feel like you're always starting from scratch. That's the real beauty I see it in, and I want you to take it in that vein. Now, what about if you were using this inside of another tool? So, one of the things that I feel is really useful about tools such as AI is that you do have the benefit of, of incorporating the and so you can also be a power user as well and continue to learn more. I'm going to share in the notes as well as a link so that you can join a community of power users that I've joined that really go through in extensive detail how you can learn and apply the different strategies like the one I shared with you today. So I'm always learning and growing, and I feel like this is a great opportunity you also may want to be a part of to do just that as well. So look in the notes. I'll put the link there for you to join the Success AI community. It's a great group of people that you can join. It's a membership, but it's also just a great way for you to grow and really take advantage of the knowledge that is there in the community and the way in which you'll be able to use OpenAI in all sorts of ways for your business. So please be aware of that. Now, I am going to over how using OpenAI inside of tools like the one that I host, which is Social Balance, and how you'll be able to take advantage of how we're incorporating that as well. So the question is, are you going to freak out now that you know what you know, or are you ready to geek out now that you know what you know? I think you're probably more on the geek out side. Don't be afraid. Try it out for size. Like I said, it's free, so it can't hurt. Go in and play with it. It's not going to bite you. But there is some power behind it, and that's what's most important. Is that how can you use this as put a tool in your toolkit to help to enhance the way that you are producing content, because that's what's most important. Is how do we want to be able to be productive and useful in producing content that's going to help to generate leads, to generate followers, and create the content that your intended audience is really looking for. So I hope you found this to be a helpful segment for this week on Biz Tip Tuesday. Look for another segment. I'm going to be highlighting some tools in specific that have embedded AI into those tools that are going to make you even more powerful than you've ever known before. So until then, please, let's get busy, keep it simple. And if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask inside of Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group, is where you can find us and everyone else. Let me put it up right here. There we go. There we go. So inside of Content Creation Tips and More is where you can find me and solopreneurs like yourself who want to become smooth operators and no longer want to be jugglers using content marketing strategies. So until next time, this is Dr. M. I am your Keep It Simple coach. Let's get busy. Bye-bye.